That's so weird. That's so weird.
Let her finish, and then you can respond to her.
All I'm saying is, sir, we are less religious than we've ever been. I don't understand. Like, why didn't we have an epidemic of school shootings back when we were extremely religious and kids were actually going to mass? People don't go to mass every week. They hardly ever go to mass. So I don't, like, where's the correlation?
Yeah, that correlation definitely doesn't follow, and I agree. The only pushback I got to what you said, we do have access to more mental health, but we kind of do, but we kind of don't. It's like the majority of the counties, I think the stat I heard, majority of rural counties don't have like a psychiatric nurse, let alone a psychiatrist. So we do, we kind of don't. And I think that one thing is, and this is a multifaceted thing. I'm not a 2A guy, right? I have a whole separate philosophy with respect to guns, and I'm not anti-gun, but you can be pro-gun and anti-2A. I won't bother to say that at this point, but it's multifaceted. Social media definitely is playing a part in our mental health crisis. There is a very lax view of responsibility with respect to guns by some of these families, like the amount of kids that are getting killed with guns. But with respect to school shootings specifically, I think that we kind of look back at it, it's kind of like, man, Billy would never do that, and they just kind of go on with it. When the signs were there, because the last few, it's like, how did this dummy get a gun? Or he had a gun, and how come y'all didn't see the signs? Like, are y'all not paying attention to y'all kid? Like the signs are there, and people kind of like didn't pay attention,
But what if that is the answer, though, Finley? What if it is that dumb? Like, if you look at the strong correlation, when did we start having school shootings? Like Holly even said it. You start seeing attacks begin, well, that's not necessarily the first one, but you start seeing, like, attacks that gain some ground, posting it, like, I guess you could put late 70s, 80s, and then there was a brief pause, and then you had Columbine. So if you're starting to say, hey, what was the precipitous?
Quite literally is the fact that we took mom out of the home, or we took a parent out of the home. What if it's that fucking simple? Because that timelines, if you look, they tend to correlate right there. And I'm not saying that women need to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. I'm not Sig or some of the other guys on the app.
If I may, bro.
But hold on, dude, chill. But what if it is something that simple? Like, we just removed a parent, a guiding force, somebody to connect and teach their kids, and now we're putting it in the hands of 23-year-olds who last week were coking and token and basically getting plowed and gangbanged in fucking college. What if it is that simple?
Black kids.
Hey, Brad, may I chime in on that point real quick?
Go ahead. I was asking Finley, but if Finley could respond, and then you could go, Adrian.
Is your thesis that because we potentially took a parent out of the home? Is that right?
We didn't just take a parent out of the home. We took the majority of parents out of the home, like the overwhelming majority in the country. So what if it is something that simple that we could just put parents back in the home?
I think there's definitely something to that, right? But I think it goes deeper. I think, and again, this is something that even though I'm an anti-2A guy, with particularly school shootings in general, I think it's bigger than that. I think the community, as we used to know it, like, and Brad, I'm a little younger than you, like, that doesn't exist anymore. Like, we have helicopter parents, and like, but can't nobody else do nothing with your kid, and we can't assist. Like, there's no assists. It's just like the parents, and that's it. Nobody else saying to my kid.
Yeah,
I think that is
it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes, and a lot of it is paranoia. Like, I was listening to, and I don't want to get too far off base here, Brad, but I was listening to a conversation about, like, kidnappings, right? The traditional stranger kidnaps your kid off the street is about 100 to 200 per year in the country. The majority of them are family members. The majority of them, and 97% of them are all returned within, like, a day or two, but it's mostly family members taking their kids, right? Something along those lines. But the paranoia around that has caused people to, like, isolate themselves from, like, their neighbors that live, like, right next door to them. And I think that plays into this because, again, there's sometimes like your neighbor can see things that you can't see because you're too busy, or there's sometimes your kids will talk to your neighbors that they won't talk to you about, right? I was one of the few kids that talked about sex when he was right. I was one of the few kids whose parents talked to him about sex when he was around 7. My friends learned about sex from my parents because their parents would not talk to them and they were afraid to talk to their parents. But
They're all white and they're all of Christian.
Hold on, let Adrian go. He asked. He was polite. He waited until everybody else was done.
You said I could after the last one, but I get it.
Oh, I apologize, Mark. You
You'll
go
get
after
to
Adrian.
Nah, let Mark go first, man. Go ahead, man.
All right, then Adrian.
Nobody toes. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's something
Go
going
ahead,
on here, guy. Can I talk? If I'm up, there's something going on here. All right, there's something going. It's hard to explain, but there's something going on here with technology, with information at the click of a button, and Christian people children who have information at the click of a button. I'm rambling here.
I'm confused. We have been over this.
Marshall, hold on. Let him just land because I want to get to Adrian.
What I'm getting at is, why is it a white Christian person, all the time?
But it's
That
not.
does these school shootings.
Mass shootings are qualified as 4 or more people wounded.
Marshall, you're being dishonest now.
Well, I was going to say, if you're talking about school shootings, not every one of them has been white either. My point is, you seem to want to attach a religion to it, and I can't figure out why you're so gung-ho on attaching Christianity to it. Noting that your argument is because they're Christian now, they're more susceptible to be violent. Despite the fact that, as Holly and several other people have said, this religion has been practiced in the country for 250 years, nearly. We're not anywhere near as violent as, say, we were in 1867. We're worlds away from that, right? And Christianity has existed the entire time, right? So if it's existed the entire time, and you've only had a couple of spasmodic periods of violence, which lasted, one like 10 years and then like 40 years, maybe even a little longer than that. I just can't remember the math straight. But other Christian countries don't have this problem, right? Like, why is it so important to attach Christian to white or attach Christian to school shooter when not all of them have been either white or Christian?
Yeah, that's
Like, why is that
people are too lazy to do this, but it saves homeowners.
Well, hold on, DJ. Hold on, everybody. I want to get Adrian. He asked, like, you guys are skipping him, and I said it. I let Mark go. Mark, we're gonna put a pin in this. I'm gonna let Adrian go, and then we're gonna attack this one because this one's. I'm gonna show you where you're fatally flawed, and I'm gonna try to use another hyperbole that we often hear. But please, Adrian.
Yeah, just 2 quick points. What Mark just said, other Christian countries don't have this issue. That's a lie. Yeah, that is a lie. I'll just give you one example. The Norway shooter. What was his name? Breivik? Killed all of those people. Norway is a Christian-dominated country. Right? So that's where you're wrong there. Something that Brad said about taking the parents out of the home. That literally happened in the late 90s, the mid to late 90s, when schools was planting the idea into children's minds. Hey, if your parent hits you, you can call the police, right? If you don't like the way your mom is yelling at you, you can come tell us. The guidance counselors and the teachers and stuff like that was planting these ideas in kids' heads that, hey, you can be emancipated from your parents if you don't like the way that things are going in your household.
They stop. No, Father. Hands off me,
And that had a profound effect
invitation.
in homes. But what the school was doing, they were usurping the authority of the parent, the state was. Saying, hey, You can't beat your child. We'll send CPS to your house. Oh, you yelled at this? You hurt their feelings? Guess what? CPS is going to do this. Right? That is an absolute real thing that happened to us in the late 90s. Right? I remember that shit happening in high school. They tried to have talks with us. Are we being abused? Are you under unfair punishment, restrictions, whatever the fuck? You know, just come tell us who your friend is.
This man is
What
our
the schools
prisoner.
did, and what?
killed my son.
And crippled mine. He will answer for his crimes, I promise you. But not here.
I'm on his head.
Mine's up.
If you try and stop me,
You will strike me down.
Right?
Have you forgotten me, sir?
You cannot deny
I am the
that
widow
shit.
of your liege
Shortly
lord,
after
Edward
Colin
Stark. I
Bond
am the mother of your king.
where is our king
You
now?
You know very well.
Right?
He
There's
has
still
gone to the
children
court
there.
to accept the
And
surrender.
just started a whole
Got to the
wave of
crack.
these
But not to
incidents that happened.
negotiate.
And
He
all of a
brought
sudden,
that foreign
as soon as
bitch
we
with him.
How dare you?
get on the
Threaten
other
my
end of
lady is an act of
the
treason.
treason, wake of it,
How can it be treason to
we do
kill
an
my
autopsy.
I understand your grief, my lord, better than most. I understand it.
Because the
But
parents
in the
did
name
not
of my son,
know
the king in
what
the
their
north,
child was into.
stand down.
They didn't know what was going
When
on
your son
underneath the
returns,
roots.
I will
The
demand this
very
murderer's
roots.
head.
They didn't know what was
Wise
going
men
on.
do
because
not
a
make
lot of them
demands of kings.
hands up
Fathers who love
their
their
children
sons do.
and was
I will
disengaged.
have his head.
That is
Thank you
because
for fighting
the
on
majority
my
of the
behalf,
goddamn
Lord
parents
I'm
usurped
to
the
defense,
state. They
Take
take
him
the
to the
school
side.
until you
Find
can
him
have
with every
input
chain you can find.
I'm a real she-wolf for
your
you later
kid
years.
is learning in school
Demonstration after you.
in their studies and shit. You have to affirm them and all that shit. And if you don't, you risk getting locked up.
Because you don't get
So what Brad's saying is absolutely true.
Adrian, do you? So Adrian, do you consider 4 mass shootings in 14 years a lot?
One is a lot.
Okay, so your Norway example seemed like a stretch to me. Like, just because something happens one time doesn't mean that like there's a pattern. And when referencing about what no of the other Christian nations and this issue, he named Norway, which has had 4 mass shootings in 14 years. So it's not a good example, right? Like, I hear you saying one's a lot, I understand, but by comparison to the U.S., that's not a good standard. I don't know why you said Norway. It seems utterly ridiculous. Just because
I can tell you
does not mean there's a pattern.
See, I had to give you clarity. I had to give you clarity because you got off the mic and didn't understand the context. If you were listening closely, I mentioned Norway on the tail end of what Mark said. He said, these things don't happen in Christian countries. And I listed Norway as an example.
No, he blamed Christian
So,
countries.
He's on the phone.
I was talking to CEO.
Yeah, I'm still here.
I'm saying Mark blamed Christian countries. He said that's the problem.
Totally. Well, I mean, if we
But I
can
wanted-
even
Real quick.
yeah, and it's a fact. It's a fact.
I just wanted to point out that
Hold on a second.
this idea-
Adrian wasn't
Okay, sorry.
done.
I'm done, man. No, go ahead.
yeah, I didn't mean to.
People are anxious. Go ahead.
No. I did not mean to interrupt you, Adrian. You're not there.
No, you go ahead, man. It's all good.
So I was just gonna this. So your thesis is that the increase in CPS has caused a decrease in parenting, which has caused an increase in school shootings. Am I restating your thesis?
The usurping of parents' authority is my stance, because that absolutely happened.
So I mean, I disagree, because I don't necessarily think that parents' authority has been usurped. I think that
So we're
I
overcoming
do
a lot.
think that
And I
parents
think
are
Kennedy is ultimately
my
doing it
opinion,
the right way,
I'm not a
recognizing
parent.
if we're going
yet, but I think that parents have gotten lazy.
to
Slash,
sustain this long after Kennedy and Trump are gone,
what's the word?
we better establish
They're
that scientific credibility, if you will.
uninvolved,
And that is
but yet they think that they're too involved. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of uninvolved. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to be micromanage those that are here to assist. Again, this idea there's no community, but you're not going to tell me to do with my kid, but I'm not doing anything with my kid. That is my thesis.
Mr. Finley, hold on. Let me respond to. Wait, AJ, you respond to Finley? Because I want to respond to Mark
just
really
real
quickly.
quick, 15 seconds. I've spoken with teachers, but it's been a lot of teachers on this app that speak out, especially when it comes to mass shootings and things like that happen. And you know what the number one thing that all of those teachers have in common that they say that they love? They say they love helicopter parents. They say that helicopter parents are the best parents in the school because they are the most engaged. They're the most involved. They're the ones that come to the parent-teacher conferences, the school board meetings, the PTA meetings, all of that stuff. And they don't play about their children. They want to know exactly what their children are learning and see how they're being productive in class and make sure that they're on top of their things, right? In school and at home. So a lot of teachers love helicopter parents. So to have these parents disengaged from their children, it is a problem and it leads to more things. So there's nothing wrong with being a helicopter parent, with being involved in your child's school life and home life.
I reserve my response.
I was just going to mention really quickly to Mark, because first of all, I don't know if Mark is being like genuine or is he just trolling, because I'm pretty sure he's researched this with his claim to some degree, bro. I like to believe that you did. But you say it's fact. It's a fact. It is not a fact. The Virginia Tech shooter was Asian, my nigga. Okay? The Parkland was like half Hispanic. We already talked about the Evade was Hispanic, and like Red Lake was Native American. Appalachian Law was black. Detroit was black. Knoxville was black. Like, I don't understand, like, why, like, where you're getting all of them were white and Christian, bro. That's why I feel like you're being disingenuous for the sake of being disingenuous.
But majority of them are white.
That wasn't what he said. That wasn't what he said, though. He said that all of them were white and Christian.
Yeah, y'all throw the white and Christian on it. That's like, it almost sounds like you have to be some religion when you're born in this world. So if you're born in a Christian country, that automatically makes you Christian. I don't believe that at all, bro. You can't, if you're not practicing Christianity, you don't go to church, you don't pray in the name of Jesus, you don't do none of these things, but automatically you're Christian? Like, how is that even logical?
It works that way.
Even if an Arab is born in an Arab country, that don't automatically make him a Muslim if he's not practicing Islam. And people who practice Christianity are not going to shoot up shit.
I said something simple, but it is hard to prove, no doubt, that most of these school shootings are of white young kids who are raised as Christians. That's a fact.
Okay, so it's a fact. Okay, wait. Could you cite your citation for that, please? You keep saying it's a fact. What citation do you have to prove
It's hard. First of all, you have to go to the parents, right? Because they're the ones.
But my nigga, how do you know? That's what I want to know. How do you know? You keep saying this. It's a fact. I want to see your citation.
So if we were to do proportionalities based on population, I'm sure it would be like, yes, there are more white freaking confused men out there that think somehow being a school shooter or mass shooter.
No, but the reason why I'm saying,
hold on, relax, chill, man. I ain't going anywhere. I ain't mad. I ain't calling any names. I'm not doing any of that. We're just having a conversation. Relax, drink some whiskey, whatever it is, smoke a doobie. Is that still the lingo today? I don't fucking know.
It's too early right now. Just get to your point.
Yes, ma'am. So the whole thing, if we based it off of demographics, I'm sure it would correlate on a per capita region. But again, you couldn't even do that because it depends on where you're going to cherry pick. Like Thomas just said, you have multiracial people doing this. You have all sorts of people. So the issue isn't the religion. I get the whole Marilyn Manson effect, but it's not that. Otherwise, guess what we would
It's
see?
always white.
Hold on, dude.
It's always
chill,
white.
Chill. No
You
one's
know
that.
Mark, have some
Mark.
discipline. Please be quiet. Let him finish.
It is not always white. It's already been listed out for you. I don't know. Maybe I have to spoon feed it, but I'm telling you, they are not always white. They're not always Christian, and they, in fact, go against a lot of the religious teachings and a lot of their manifestos. So if I'm sitting here listening to you, I'm believing with the news media and a racial stereotype. Like, the majority of crimes in this country are committed by guess which race? Black people. I hear that a fucking lot. It's not true. It's not even remotely true. But I hear that a fucking lot.
And it's that media narrative. It's that propaganda narrative. So this is part of the problem, Mark, is that you're actually not looking at what's going on in a case by case to actually look at solving the problem. I just said it may be as simple as adding a parent in the home. I don't think it's Christianity. Christianity doesn't do it. I don't think Islamic, Judaism, Buddhists, or whatever fucking anybody else believes in is that triggering fact. I just don't see it. I don't. You're just give me. It's a white Christian male that was featured on CNN. That's all you have.
Can I say this,
Go ahead,
Brad?
Mrs. Clark.
I went ahead and I posted in the chat the more up-to-date information about mass shootings here in America, who's perpetrating them, so on and so forth, what type of gun they're usually using to do it, just a lot. Now, it does not give the religious breakdown, right? That's where you got me. I would say I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge that, realistically speaking, a lot of the mass shooters we have been white male. But that does not mean that we haven't had other. I think we all can acknowledge that.
Of Christian persuasion.
I'm not saying of Christian persuasion because I don't have the information or the facts to back it up. So I'm not going to say that. Now, as I said, I posted the link in the chat. You can read it. You can get more educated about it or see what the graphs and things are saying, right? In this case, I think that it's one of those things that's hard to predict because if I remember correctly, the gentleman that we're talking about is 21 years old, which means he was of legal age to buy weapons. Last time I checked, he did. Brad, correct me if I'm wrong. Did he have anything on file, or was he seeing anybody that would have been able to label him a danger that would have put him on a flag list for whenever he went to purchase that gun? It would have been flagged, right?
Technically, they were struggling with their identity since 2020. So
was there anything on record to show or to be put on that background check when you run that would have labeled them as inaccessible to a gun? No, right?
No, nothing that's been reported yet. So no,
yeah,
I don't
so he wasn't seeing a doctor while he was struggling with his sexual identity that would have been able to annotate that and submit that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, this is one of those freak things where unfortunately he purchased the gun legally and he went and he did it. There would have been nothing realistically anybody would have been able to do to stop it. That's just the facts of it. It's fucked up. I hate the fact that he went out in a coward's way instead of standing 10 toes down and facing the laws of justice and facing those fucking people. It's fucked up that those children had to go through that, and some of those children had to use themselves as shields to protect other children. It's just one of those type of things. Because the reality is when it comes to individuals like this, they're going to find a way to do something one way or another, right? And that's the facts that we're dealing with. All this if, and, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and what about this, what about that? No, you know how I am, Brad. Deal with the facts of the case. Don't add shit. Talk about it in the context that it is.
Yeah, but the facts is
the context
saying it's just saying it's just one of those things. It's kind of wild, respectfully. And hello, Miss Clark, it's been a while. It's kind of I don't necessarily know I want to accept that, but we're pushing back against this thesis that they're white Christian men. That is definitely not. The evidence does not.
So this is the race on Christian. Wait, because I don't mind doing this. We can play. Wait, hold on. So why don't we do this? So Thomas actually had a whole list going. I don't know if Thomas can do it or somebody who's got. Because like right now, I'm trying to figure out how to not break this crock pot. I'm now on my third one. So what I'm trying to do is let's see. Can anybody break this down real quick? What is the race of those? And I'm willing to bet it probably is overwhelmingly white. I'm willing to bet it's probably male. Those are two categories.
Are you about to ask about active shooters and shit? And then like the stats on them?
No. Like listen till we're done. We're talking about a school shooter, so let's go ahead and diagnose this. Like let's find it because maybe it is. Maybe it's as simple as, you know what? Let's fucking remove all the white kids out of the male kids that, you know, I don't know, have like fucking. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. They play fucking
It's overwhelmingly white. It's overwhelmingly white. Over 90%. Over 90%. Over 90%.
It's not 90%.
It's not.
It's over 90% up until recently.
It's not.
I got it.
Up until recently, yes.
Doing this at all. I just hate when I have to do this, but I have to do this. please, everyone will get a chance to speak. No need to talk over, and please be courteous of other speakers. If you just joined the room, don't just get up there and try to speak. Understand other people have been waiting to speak in front of you. Also, if you are on stage, you need to cash in your pink ticket to be able to stay and speak. Sorry, and a lot of pink tickets in the audience. Please cash those pink tickets in, and I'll go ahead and go on mute now. I think it was it Miss Clark that wanted to finish her point?
Yes, ma'am.
Or was Weedman? Okay, Miss Clark, finish your point, and then I believe Weedman wanted to.
Throw me in the queue. Throw me in the queue too after Weedman.
Okay, just so that way we can have a quick breakdown. I'm going to move through this quick, right? Location and timing. Most mass shootings are likely to occur in workplaces and school. Weapon. Handguns are the most commonly used weapons in mass shootings at 74%. Rifles are at 32%. Shotguns are at 16%. Perpetrators usually tend to be white at 54%. Perpetrators are overwhelmingly male at 95.3%. The average age of a mass shooter in this country is 34.5 years old. As I said, it does not give the ideological demographic of if they're Christian, if they're Pentecostal, all that other stuff. And the site that I have does not list if they're normally Republican or Democrat or far right, far left, or anything like that. Mass shootings are most commonly perpetrated with handguns, one being at least handguns, like I said, 73.5% here, and at least one rifle, 32.5%, at least one shotgun, 15%. Most mass shootings involve a single weapon, sitting at 66.67%. And most mass shooter perpetrators are typically males, with solo males being 94.6%, solo female only being 3.8%, male-female pair being 1%, and two males being less than 0.6%. There's the information.
Okay, so we should do. So just real quick, I want to emphasize this. So it's 54% white males. All right, that's probably in alignment with the racial breakdown of the country. Are we all in agreement?
Yeah, it is, Brad. But it says she's right. 54% whites. It's also 22 to 26% black, and it's 10% Latino.
All right,
just to add those stats.
You know what? Fine. Then we are all on board. We agree that maybe it's not just the skin characteristics. Oh my God, we might get somewhere. It may not just be the skin characteristics. It may be something a little bit more deeper. All right, go ahead, Finley, or whoever was next.
I believe it was Weedman.
Yeah, Weedman, go ahead.
Weedman.
Oh, Weedman, I'm sorry.
No, she broke it down. I mean, she effectively broke down what the statistics are. Jay Waver, essentially the FBI and the CIA does extensive research on this. Actually, one of my concentrations for my bachelor's degree was school and campus security. So what we did is we go back to the 1800s when the first documented attacks on schools actually started to happen. And it gets pretty deep. With that being said, her statistics are right. I would say more in the recent years, we've seen what would be off base of the norm, which was white, middle-aged men from the age of 35 to 45, whether you're talking about schools, active shooters out and about in the world, it's middle-aged white men. That's been typically the 90+% ratio up until I think just the last couple of shootings might offset it a little bit because there were some different, racial ethnicities involved. Nonetheless, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't think race is the biggest deal here, right? And I think we can all agree to that. We have kids that are being shot, and what's happening is they're realizing that people within my community, the security and risk management industry, are paying attention, and we're making moves, and now schools and communities are reacting, and so we're able to install different things and try different measures, and we're testing, we're exploring options, right? There's never going to be a picture perfect situation here unless the truth is we lock the fucking school down. And then even if we do, we have what took place just the other day. I don't know if this is the Minnesota shooting, but is this the one where he shot through the windows? This is because there was like two of them in just the last couple of days. Is this the one where he shot through the windows?
Yes, this is the one where he shot through the windows.
So we get to this point now, which was my biggest worry through all my studies over the last 20 years in college and in this profession, is that we can create great access control, remove bottleneck situations from that access control. We could do a lot, right?
What we can never stop is somebody from the outside just shooting fucking in. If somebody's determined to shoot, kill, and harm, they're going to do it. They're going to find a way, whether it's a bomb, a knife, a sword. You look at China, you look at England, you see all types of violent acts in mass, right? And they're not used with firearms. I think just a couple of years ago, some fucker walked into a goddamn mall with a goddamn sword and like chopped like fucking 33 people up. Now, did most of the people survive? Yes. And I think so there's a difference there. Nonetheless, race, while it's a topic in the discussion, those of us in this industry are cued in on what's taking place, on the actors, the people that are investigating these things. They're aware of these breakdowns and these statistics based on the information we receive. And I could just say, I don't think that should be the main sticking point in conversation. I think it's divisive. I think it doesn't allow us to get to a solution. And I'm going to pass the mic real quick so I can bring us along.
Can I speak, please? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I'll let you
Go ahead.
CP.
Yeah, good.
I'll go ahead, CP.
Go ahead.
I'll go ahead, CP. Miss CP can go. I'll go after.
Thank you.
Great.
I just wanted to know if we brought up mental illness, isolation, bullying. I think when you have that combination, it just adds to the piece of the puzzle. You know, that isolation, especially from their parents. That the parents don't know what's going on. So I think mental illness needs to be really up there too. I mean, gun prevention, of course, but these kids, some kids out there, I don't know what's going on with them, but yeah.
So the National Alliance of Mental Health says
Excuse
that,
me,
just
it's
real quick.
No, it's Mr. Finley's turn. Thank you.
So the Violence Project talks about this, and I think one of the reasons that we think that most mass shootings are white males because we're thinking about school shootings, and they tend to make the national headlines, whereas your day-to-day quote-unquote urban violence amongst people of color tends to be not always multiple victims, and it tends to be it's the narrative. Like, so if it's a gang-related violence and two people got shot, it's not gonna make national news. It may make no local news, but it's not gonna make national news. But when Tyrone does that with Pookie in it, right, with 2-3 people. But if Chad decides to go in and shoot up, the school, kills 15 people randomly because of whatever reason that he has, because his brain ain't wired correctly, that makes national news, and of course that's what's highlighted. So that's what the perception is, and it's not the reality. But I want to point to something that another part to my thesis about: one, we don't have the community we used to. Number two, the way that we are, especially in the school system, the way that we are raising boys. You may not believe this. I know that there's patriarchy people out there that believe there's oppressive patriarchy. Boys are failing. They are failing. They're slowly checking out of society. And it starts young because the way we educate boys, there's a whole problem systemically. And these aren't my words. There are multiple organizations that have talked about this. That there is a problem there. And when solutions are offered, the pushback is, no, we can't do that for boys specifically because we're going to go back to the old system, patriarchy, evil, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is there is a male deficit happening right now with respect to economically, educationally. I mean, if you've been to a high school graduation or college graduation, look at the top performers. They're mostly all girls. There's a guy sprinkling there every now and then, but mostly all girls. There's a problem there. And I think it's worth having.
I think, wait, someone want to jump off? I saw someone jump off their mic. No, I just needed to ask somebody.